I should stop.
This hangout is live.
This hangout
And
is
now
brought
we
to
will
you.
hear producer Jenny Josephson's imitation of Jar Jar Binks.
No, we won't. I'm retiring it. I'll just do the other 17
Today's
racist
Daily Tech
characters in
News Show
Star Wars.
headlines will be read by Jenny Josephson in the style of Jar Jar Binks.
It's me.
Well, it'll be Watto, yeah. That's less
something.
offensive.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you like a Newt Gunnery. There's
Yeah.
nothing stereotypically Asian about that guy.
Oh,
Watto mocking Newt Gunray.
There you
just,
go.
you're more racist than me. Ugh, George. Happens when you live in a castle too long.
A spicy meatball don't work on me.
Yeah.
How come there weren't any Irish characters?
Well, wasn't Liam Neeson an Irish character?
Well, he was in fact Irish. Wait, or is he Scottish? Wait.
He's Irish.
He's Irish.
He's
okay.
Irish.
But he was not being very Irish. He
Yeah.
didn't pick
I think
fights
it was,
with everyone and get
it was in
drunk.
Anthony Daniels' contract. No Irish. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Damn Brits.
Didn't they say last night on the stream that Anthony Daniels had played C-3PO 64 times
Wow.
with all the different little things that he's done, including the Star Wars Holiday Special? Woo!
Life Day, baby. Life Day.
Happy Life Day! I watched all of that recently, and I was like, oh boy.
Cut the meat into bite-sized pieces. Wonk.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do
I'm going away.
the show.
May the show be with you.
And also with you.
Lift up our mics.
Is that the proper response to "May the Force be with you" or the proper response to "Peace be with you" when I'm
Peace
at
be with
church?
you. You went Catholic there.
I think they say "and also with you"
All right,
in Star
all right.
Wars, right?
Well, I know it's the Catholic response, but I couldn't remember if it also worked for the Force. I'm a lapsed Jedi.
I was raised Catholic. I'm therefore not religious.
I was raised Jedi. All right, here we go. Ready?
Ready.
The Daily Tech News Show.
Xiaomi.
The Daily
I was born.
Tom. The Daily. To support Tom, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Okay, now you can press the button, Tom.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, December 15th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Todd Whitehead, founder of Alpha Geek Radio, filling in for the vacationing Patrick Beja, who I only can assume, Todd, has sneaked into a Star Wars The Force Awakens premiere.
Patrick would never do such a thing, and I totally hate him because that's exactly what he's doing.
Because he must. That's I don't know. I don't know what other reason could make him miss a Tuesday on Daily Tech News Show. But we're very happy to have you here, not just because if something goes wrong with the Alpha Geek Radio stream you're nearby. Well, that's handy, I have to say.
I'll own that.
You're also somebody who knows from streaming, and we're going to talk about Netflix's new data compression algorithm that's supposed to help really reduce the bandwidth load on folks. Lots of things to talk about, from interconnection agreements to your own personal bandwidth caps you might be dealing with. But let's start with the headlines. Bloomberg reports Apple has opened a lab in Longtong, northern Taiwan that is developing new screens for devices including OLED. Now, Apple's not confirming this, but they did go into the place and see an Apple logo up and see people walking in and out with Apple IDs. And it is a place that used to make screens, and they've hired people from screen makers. So they've got some pretty good indications that that's what's going on here. If Apple designed its own screens, it could go directly to smaller manufacturers, folks like Innolux or maybe AU Optronics, and save money over big suppliers, which they have been using previously, folks like Samsung. Meanwhile, the Silicon Valley Business Journal notes that Apple paid $18.2 million for a 72,000 square foot semiconductor factory in North San Jose. Now, it's a small factory. It wouldn't really be able to be used as a fab, but it was advertised as, quote, well suited for prototype, pilot, and low volume manufacturing. So it could be that they're going to do some prototyping there, possibly for switching over to Intel chips on mobile, is one rumor. One guess, I should say, not even a rumor.
That just looks like a continuation of their existing strategy of making more of it themselves. They went down this road with their CPUs, and it paid great dividends for them. So if they can pull it off with their displays, I'm not sure. I would be very dubious of the rumor of them switching to Intel just because they've done such a good job designing the A-series chips to do what they do so beautifully well.
Yeah, and it could be just as likely that they want to design chips more. It could be that they want to design a laptop chip in there. Who knows?
Bring it on.
Yeah, I think this is definitely Apple going down the route, like you said, of designing their own things and then finding cheaper partners to make them for them.
Yep. Own the whole business end to end. Fortune reports that Android Pay will now let users pay in-app. Apps that support Android Pay include Instacart, DoorDash, Lyft, and OpenTable. Google is offering a $10 off a user's first Lyft ride and $10 off DoorDash delivery.
Ooh, I'm using that.
Mm-hmm. Australia was also announced as the first international market for Android Pay starting in the first half of 2016. Businesses like 7-Eleven, McDonald's, and Telstra will roll out support for the system in Australia.
Ah, yes. This will make me install DoorDash on my Nexus tablet. And well, actually, I'm not sure if Android Pay would work that way. I'm gonna fire up an Android phone and order some. We use DoorDash a lot. That's all I'm trying to say here. And I want that $10 off coupon.
You're a resident of LA, is what you are.
Yeah. Although, you know, we've got the whatevers, the other Grubhubs, and what's the one that always gets all the press? That's the big fancy startup that now I'm suddenly blanking on. Postmates. Postmates is around. They do things, but I don't know.
What freaks me out about this, the story more, is that when they're talking about Australia, the things that get featured are 7-Eleven and McDonald's.
Yeah, and Telstra. Right.
Had to throw one in there that was at least local.
That was at least Australian. Lord Melvin wanted us to mention that Variety reports Netflix is beginning to roll out re-encoded videos optimized to save viewers up to 20% on bandwidth. That's going to be our main topic today. Each video, including individual TV episodes, are evaluated and might have different settings based on how much action there is, whether it's animated. For instance, animated shows are less complex, and so they can be compressed more without losing any visible resolution. Researchers at the University of Southern California, the University of Nantes, and the University of Texas at Austin helped automate the process. Netflix expects to have its whole library re-encoded by the end of Q1 2016. I'll save most of our comments for the discussion here, but this is good news if it doesn't degrade video quality.
And everything they've published about it says that they tested this left, right, center, up, down, and nobody could tell the difference between their old method and new.
I am firmly crossing my arthritic fingers.
Ouchie.
Now we're stuck.
Can't help you. I'm too far away. Facebook has Yelp's business in its sights. Search engine land was tipped off by Sriv Sharma, who found Facebook professional services at facebook.com/services. The page has a search box, a location selector, with around 85 business categories that autofill based on search terms. Searches return a list of business with a description, contact information, business hours, user ratings, and reviews. The feature only works on the web.
I tried this. I thought, well, let's see what they say about doctors in my area. They didn't find any. They said there are no doctors. They didn't say there are no doctors. I can't remember exactly the phrasing, but definitely in beta.
Yeah, it's a stub, probably.
I mean, healthcare is not such great shakes in the United States, but we have doctors.
Yeah, you do need occasionally to find one. This seems like a sensible place that Facebook could extend their empire into.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of having to log into Facebook to do this sort of thing. And thankfully, in the past, when Facebook has gone into seemingly obvious territory that they could dominate because they have so many users, the users still go and use the originals. I haven't seen them conquer other territory this way. For instance, checking in. They were going to kill Foursquare at one point, and they didn't. Foursquare has been maybe doing that themselves of late, but Foursquare continued to rise in popularity when Facebook was trying to take them on. So I don't know that this is a bad move, but I don't know that it's the lockdown. Oh, they're gonna ruin Yelp at this point.
Yeah.
CNET reports that with the version 1.11 Philips Hue software update, non-Philips Zigbee wireless bulbs, that includes things like GE Link, the GE Link LED and Cree connected LED, cannot be added to the system. Now, third-party bulbs that you have already added to your system will continue to work, unwarranted anyway for the time being, but Philips cites interoperability issues and confusing differences in setup and resetting as the reason for the move. Philips is launching a Friends of Hue program to certify third-party bulbs interoperability. I think it's a worse experience for somebody who bought a bulb to not be able to integrate it when they thought they could.
Yeah.
But as CNET points out in their article, this probably wouldn't have caused so much consternation if Philips had launched the Hue with a Friends of Hue program from the beginning. But having gone out and bought bulbs and had them work with your Philips Hue system and still work with your Philips Hue system, and then buying a new one and adding it and having it not work is also very confusing in your setup, I would think.
Yeah, it's all kinds of annoying. Even just imagine a scenario where if for some reason you had to master reset your hub, and then you couldn't re-add all these third-party bulbs that were working yesterday because the new firmware says, oh, sorry, those are foreigners.
Yeah, right.
And I'm of two minds on this one. I understand that in a very Apple kind of a way, Philips doesn't want other people's product to make theirs look bad. They want to just magically work. The wonk in me wants to be able to play with everything and connect everything to everything else, and when someone deliberately takes away functionality, it annoys me.
Yeah,
I know people in makerspaces are going to find ways around this.
Of course. Dr. Payne says, so basically DRM on light bulbs. Yep. Not exactly. They're not saying you can't, that it's not copy protection. So it's not digital rights management. It's just simple in like taking away functionality, like you said.
That's Mac ID blocking. The Verge reports that Pebble, the most amusingly named company in the world, is rolling out Pebble Health, a health tracking system that works with all Pebble watches except the Classic and Classic Steel. Pebble Health tracks steps and sleep and can share data with Apple Health and Google Fit. Pebble's activity tracking algorithm was developed with Stanford University's Wearable Health Lab and will be made public for scientific testing. See, here's the opposite approach. Here's our health system that works with everybody else's health system. I love Pebble's approach of here's our wearable and we want you to integrate it with whomever you please.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to do two things here. One is say, we know that our watch can work with your Fitbit, but hey, what if our watch didn't need the Fitbit, which is competitive, and they're not blocking the Fitbit apps from the watch. On the other hand, they're also saying, hey, we want to make a really good algorithm that is better at tracking these things, just a couple of things to start with so we can get really good at it. And we're working with academic researchers to maybe make a better algorithm, and to see if it's actually a better algorithm, we're going to publish it and let people beat up on it to make it better. I think this is fantastic in all respects. The UK's Southeast Regional Organised Crime Cyber Unit, this is a region west of London, said in a statement on Tuesday that it had arrested a Bracknell man on suspicion of unauthorized access to computers and data. Reuters reports the arrest of a 21-year-old man in connection with the intrusion into the VTech toy company database. So looks like they may have found the person who perpetrated that hack. And that's a pretty fast turnaround from the hack being revealed to finding the perpetrator.
Yeah,
if it turns out to be the right person.
Yeah, that's the bit that makes me wonder is whenever there's a fast turnaround on cybercrime, that's for a head. My gut reaction is say, oh, they went for a headline. They probably don't have the right person. They probably have someone who is maybe claiming responsibility for it to brag on a forum somewhere. Because
it takes more than a forum brag to get an arrest warrant, though. And the UK has a fairly good track record in the people that they have arrested. I don't know what the Southeast Regional Organized Crime Cybercrime Unit's track record is.
And just the fact they were going after information on children just makes this one that much more heinous.
Sure.
The Verge, again, reports that Facebook, again, is changing the way it enforces the real name policy. The new system will require more information from anyone making a false name complaint, like whether they think the account is for an imposter, a fictional character, or an unexpected name. The subject of the complaint will have a week to respond and has options to report special circumstances like stalking, bullying, or gender-related concerns. Facebook has added more members to the support team that deals with name issues. They've had some high-profile bad PR moments with names.
And this doesn't change their policy. They still require you to use the name that you go by in real life. Now, that doesn't have to be your legal name, but you do have to send an ID. It doesn't always have to be a state-issued ID, but you have to send an ID and show that this is the name you use in real life. I like that they are allowing people to respond more. I like that they're forcing reporters to have to say why they're reporting it and not just get an automatic takedown. I like that they're having people within Facebook review these things before they take them down. I think that will take a lot of the abuse out of the system, but there are still people who go by a name and they don't want to go by anything related to their real name that the policy still leaves behind.
Right. It's good to have a human being in the system, and I know it's a massive system where that is very difficult, but there's always going to be strange real-life exceptions that should be examined by somebody with a pulse.
TM204 sent us the news about a very useful Chrome extension called Force Block, which uses the power of your mind to stop advertisements from No, that's not what it does. Force Block blocks pages containing spoilers about Star Wars The Force Awakens. If you try to open a Star Wars related site, the extension loads a screen with a Star Wars joke. Although the app claims to have a smart detection pattern, The Verge reports that it mostly blocks pretty much all references to Star Wars. But if you're seeing the movie later than this week, when it premieres for most people, Wednesday or Thursday, this might be the extension you're looking for.
Can I get another extension called Force Choke?
You don't want another extension.
I don't want another extension.
You want this extension.
I want this extension.
You want to submit stories to us at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com.
You're damn right I do.
And vote on them too, please. That helps us put together a better lineup. I mean, it's working for a better world, for a better tomorrow. Submit and vote at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And that is a look at the headlines. Hey, Janko Redkers from Variety now. You remember him writing for other outlets, but he writes for Variety. Wrote about this Netflix deal. If you don't know, Netflix is responsible, most recently, I think Sandvine estimated him at 37% of the video of the traffic, of the internet traffic, not just video traffic, in North America during peak hours. So Netflix has run into all kinds of problems with that. They've run into interconnection agreements where ISPs like Comcast say, well, we're not going to pay to upgrade the connection. You're flooding us. You need to pay us. And they've capitulated in a few cases, Comcast, AT&T, etc. Netflix is now aiming to use less data. They say they can use up to 20% less data with a new algorithm they've been working on since 2011. It adjusts the quality level depending on the content. So for instance, an animated show, which doesn't have as many things changing as a big live action scene, could stream in 1080p at 1.5 megabits per second under this compression ratio, and you shouldn't be able to notice. They say they can definitely optimize almost anything from 5.8 megabits per second to 4.64 megabits per second, and they're tailoring it. Each TV episode in a series might have a different setting and a different bit rate that it would stream at. One episode may be full of, longer shots without as much action, and the next episode is action filled and needs to stream at a little bit of a higher rate. They're also slicing videos up to allow multiple servers to re-encode this in parallel, so they can get through encoding their hundreds of thousands of videos faster. They're re-encoding during off-peak hours using the same Amazon instances that they use to serve you the video during the peak hours. And they've even started already testing it to see if any customers would notice. I think that's the big question, right, Todd, is are we going to look at this and say, hold on a minute, this is now compressed. This is like when DirecTV compresses their HD signal. I don't like it.
This is the internet. You will be able to find people complaining about it somewhere, whether it's justified or not. All indications from what information that Netflix has released about this is they have tested this exhaustively, specifically with an eye towards not angering their customer base by reducing the quality of the videos. But it is, we are so HD focused and 4K and 8K and whatever the future may bring.
All the K.
That this had to happen because they need to be able to deliver the product as efficiently as possible and have it arrive and be beautiful, because we want it to be beautiful. The nerd in me just loves the fact that we have the computing capacity and the storage capacity in existence to even consider re-encoding a petabyte of video data into multiple resolutions that are optimized for what is inside the content. That this is where mathematicians go when they graduate from college. They go and they write these amazing algorithms that can analyze a piece of digital data and Tetris it down to the most efficient possible way to move it across a network to then unpack it real time, so we can see anything on the scale from My Little Pony to Michael Bay of different levels of compression, and all we had to do was hit a button.
They challenged employees. They put up a couple of screens and they said one of these is running in the new compression algorithm and one of them is running in the live current algorithm. Point out a difference. It wasn't just can you guess which one is which. It was point out a difference that makes it evident that these two are not the same, and offered a bottle of champagne. Anybody could do it. Nobody could do it. Now you could say, well, that's a bunch of employees who kind of want to not see it, even though they don't get the champagne because that supports their awesome company that they work at. And maybe it's hard to prove something is there, even if you think you see it. But they also rolled this out in testing to select customers, and we have not seen a bunch of complaints about Netflix suddenly having a loss in quality. When this actually becomes available over the next couple of weeks in their most popular videos to thousands of customers, especially during the holiday break, sitting at home with their feet up, that will be the real test. But like you said, most of this looks like it will not have a perceptual difference, that the algorithm is good. And they brought in big guns. They brought in people who have been researching this, the mathematicians you're talking about. This could have lots of different effects. For one, it could make those interconnection agreements easier to deal with because you won't be flooding those connections as much. In fact, the connections that they're paying for, maybe they'll save some money because they don't need them as much. That I would expect, if this really does work very well, for Netflix to start going back to the Comcasts and AT&Ts and saying, hey, that deal? Well, we're not using as much now, so you can pull out a couple of those interconnect ports and give us our money back. And I'd be interested to see if the ISPs agree with that. It also is going to ease up for people who are experiencing bandwidth limits. Now, there are rather data limits, not bandwidth limits. Folks who have Comcast doesn't like to call them caps because you can buy overage. So it's not actually a cap. It's just a limit that you have to pay to get past. But if you don't want to pay to get past this could help you there. It certainly can help with mobile. If you want to watch Netflix while you're out and about on a tablet or a phone, you won't have to worry as much about using up the data in your account because this will use less data.
Yeah, this gives Netflix more tools in their toolkit. Because I imagine a scenario, say, when Canada gets The Force Awakens before everyone else next year, bastards, Netflix may choose to not compress it as much and have that high demand, high action, going to be under the microscope when it first releases, have it go out in the fatter form that is less likely to experience problems, so people are joyous and impressed by it, and then maybe quietly a couple months in dial it back to one of these.
I don't think so. I think they sound confident enough in this.
They're just going to go for it.
That they're like, look, we don't have to sandbag it. We don't have to worry about it. Just put it out and people will be fine with it. Because if it's working the way they say, it shouldn't need to have another version out. Although if they do put the optimized version out, that'll make it easier on all those people using VPNs to get into the Canada Netflix.
Who would ever do such a thing?
I wonder, I put this to us and we kind of stopped talking about it to save it for the show when we were talking before the show. This is a result of the interconnection agreements to a certain extent. There's lots of reasons why Netflix wants to do this, but one of them is, hey, wait a minute, we're really flooding these interconnections and we weren't able to get away without paying for some kind of agreement. Let's figure out how to send less data through. And that can be seen as a positive effect of having to negotiate those agreements.
Well, yeah, I mean, necessity is a mother of invention, and the ISPs have created this necessity where suddenly they imagine that bits are a limited resource. So in this imaginary world that they've constructed, Netflix now has to work with those limitations and this makes them a hero from the perspective of their customer base, because the customer base is getting the notifications, hey, there are data caps where there were none before. It's transparently because they're not making a buck off of cable subscriptions anymore, and they want a piece of the internet that is taking the cable subscriptions place, and that just makes people cranky. So if Netflix can come back and say, hey, you can have all the video you want, and we're going to help you not hit that artificial cap, then people are going to be turning over their $9 a month, $10 a month, even happier than they were before.
Yeah, and people might suddenly decide to keep a connection that they would have gotten rid of because they were going over their cap, et cetera, et cetera. So,
if this is...
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, if this is introduces the level of efficiency that they claim, this could be an actual selling point of Netflix over another non-optimized streaming service.
Very true.
Yeah, you could do your Amazon Prime, but you're going to hit your data cap.
Yeah.
You can watch the same old movie over here for 20% less data against your cap. Sign-ups are over here.
I mean, Netflix has been doing this since 2011.
Yeah.
So when the very first sabers began to be rattled about interconnections, they were starting to work on this problem. So it's not a direct result of that. They're also apparently working on some kind of torrent project. We mentioned that yesterday. There was a job posting referring to WebTorrent, which is a way to embed torrents into browsers using WebRTC. And they have made some saber rattles last year about the idea that, well, if ISPs are worried about interconnection, then and the fact that we're sending all this data into their systems, maybe we'll change to torrents where the data goes in and comes out of their systems and it's balanced. So I would keep an eye out for that. Not anytime soon, but I think that would be, again, maybe for a competitive reason, they do this, but I think it would be excellent for everyone if suddenly the torrent protocol, particularly the web torrent, maybe not, maybe some other version of it, was used to deliver video over the internet. Because then instead of Netflix possibly having a problem during peak times, Netflix gets better during peak times because the way torrents work, the more people that are using it, the more efficient a torrent system works.
The challenge there becomes, I don't know if this is uniform across all ISPs, but I know my ISP, Cox Communications, part of my data cap includes my upstream.
Mm-hmm.
So they count send and receive, add that up, and that becomes my monthly cap, or used to.
Yeah, and that is just an accounting issue. It's
Yes.
not like their upstream is congested, or that they somehow we're sending too much data out onto the internet. It goes back to that.
I didn't say it made sense.
Yeah, right.
But if I do start seeding these torrents, or when I'm sending data as I'm watching a film, then their efficiency of having me not hit my data cap is undermined by the fact that I'm sending data to my neighbors so they can watch the same movie as me, and now I'm hitting my cap faster.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out, and whether these data limits actually succeed. They generally don't. Anytime an ISP tries to put data limits in, they succeed for a time, but they haven't proved to be sticky yet. I mean, who knows? Maybe they will. If you're someone who has a data cap right now, you're saying, yeah, they're pretty sticky because I have one. So I get that.
I had to move away from their consumer product to their business product to get away from the cap.
Yeah, same here. Let's get our pick of the day from Rico in locked down Brussels, or at least it was when he sent us the email. Said on episode 2636, you guys were talking about the new Chrome feature that reduces traffic usage and the Opera alternative. Onavo.com is an app that does that system-wide for your phone. It's for Android and iOS and has helped me save on roaming charges here in Europe. However, it must be served with a huge dose of caution or tinfoil hattage because it works by redirecting all your traffic through their VPN. So you shouldn't be in a position where you're going to be upset if somebody else can see the traffic that you're sending out on the network. Onavo is apparently owned by Facebook now as well. So there's that too, says Rico. But I immediately sent this link to my sister and said, we should put this on my mom's phone because we had a bingo app that was using up all of her data every month and we uninstalled that and it helped, but she doesn't have Wi-Fi. So anything that's going to help keep that data down for her is going to be good.
Yeah, there's more and more apps are becoming little data sponges on your machines if they have embedded apps or embedded advertising that they're downloading updates to and all that crap. So anything that can shave that down or control it, good thing.
onavo.com, onavo.com if you want to take a look at it. Send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find my picks and a link to a spreadsheet of all of your picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. A couple of messages before we're out of here regarding the new drone registration requirement here in the United States. Mark pointed out that this doesn't just apply to what we consider drones. This applies to all model aircraft of a certain size. He says this is a loss for the Academy of Model Aeronautics. These rules are for the unmanned aircraft systems. He has a site archiving all this stuff after a number of flyers were arrested in New York City. He says the AMA, not the American Medical Association, the Academy of Model Aeronautics, wanted an exception for legacy flyers, all the old remote control airplane flyers, the RC flyers, to not have a registration requirement. The AMA, who represent much of this old user base, has been less than happy to embrace the drone technology, including first-person view. Forums are commonly acid fuels against drone pilots. All the while, the AMA has recently well-documented history of hypocrisy on drone tech. He says, I released my freestyle drone frame open source at rotorgarage.com if you want to check that out. But what the AMA is saying is Congress agreed to say nobody has to register, nobody has to pay if they follow the rules of a community. And we've been that community. Now, obviously, Mark has an axe to grind and calls it acid-fueled rhetoric against drone pilots. But I know Darren has talked about the AMA and said that, you know, maybe that could have been an organization that stepped up and helped folks with all kinds of unmanned aeronautical vehicles. So, or systems, or whatever you want to call them, UAVs, UASs. I think that this is a setback for folks who just wanted to fly model airplanes, and now they're going to have to pay $5 and get a registration number, which is too bad that it couldn't have been worked out better.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we were going to avoid it just with the amazing new capabilities that drones have that can be misused, and fear of that is what has driven this. And they got caught up in the tidal wave. And
then my boss, John, in Detroit, one of the bosses, says, I was listening to yesterday's show and like to give another solution to the drone squad. We had someone write in and said, what if you had, and somebody's like, it's illegal to shoot down drones. Yes, it is. Our emailer yesterday was saying, what if we made it so that the drone squad, the officials, could shoot them down with rubber bullets? And John said, now a net like the Japanese Tokyo police are doing, or a shotgun sounds cool. The fact that they would take too long to deploy and would probably not be that accurate are a problem, and cause damage to the drone is also a problem. My suggestion is radio waves. Think back to Interstellar, when at the beginning they hijack a UAV. What if there was a way to take control of a drone remotely when it crosses into a no-fly zone? It would be faster to implement and would prevent damage to the drone being confiscated. The operator would then pay a fine and a fee to retrieve their vehicle. That's kind of where they're going with building in systems, and DJI is doing this, that can tell where a no-fly zone is and just doesn't go into it. It's even better than radio jamming. But as an enforcement measure for people who might hack around that system, I think that's an interesting avenue to pursue as well, John. Good suggestion.
Yeah, build in a control backdoor for law enforcement. What could go wrong?
Yeah. So thank you both, Mark and John, for writing in with those perspectives, and everybody who writes in. We don't always have time to read everybody's emails, but we appreciate every single one we get. And we appreciate Todd Whitehead joining us, not only on the show today, but also providing Alpha Geek Radio at alphageekradio.com. If you use that to either listen or watch the show, you got to thank this guy. He's the one who makes it all happen.
You make the fun stuff happen on the network, and if you
takes a village, man.
It takes a village. I build a road, you drive the road. Yeah, you can get this very show on a crap ton of devices now. Smart TVs, Roku, Apple TV, all that fun stuff. Just check out tunein.alphageekradio.com, and there's a big old ever-growing list of ways you can consume Tom's glorious visage.
Yeah, not just me either. Allison Sheridan's podcasts are on there. X got podcasts on there. All the Night Attack stuff. Brian Brushwood, Justin Robert Young is on there, and on and on and on. Like, that's just a smidgen of this stuff. So if you're thinking like, hey, how can I watch this stuff on my X device? It's tunein.alphageekradio.com, and probably find the device you're looking for listed on there.
And we're always looking for new talent, so if you have a recommendation, just come over to the site, click on Help, and there's a big old Submit button on there. Send me the info. I'll contact them.
Hey, thanks to everybody who supports the show and makes it possible for us to do this. dailytechnewsshow.com/support is the place to go if you're willing to help make the show happen. If you can't afford it, we understand. But if you can, all we're asking is, $1 a month. If you got that, we'd love to have it. Patreon.com/DTNS or dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 593-2459. Catch the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and on diamondclub.tv. And visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Scott Johnson. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Boom.
Bada bing.
What should we call it?
Netfixed. I like that one.
Netflix.
Sorry, I'm a little slower with this new system that I'm using right now. Just for now.
The Force Block awakens.
Yeah. Less flicks.
Compression and chill. Nice.
Compress and
Compression and chill.
I liked fat-free flicks too.
Yeah.
Less flicks is winning though. That's pretty damn good.
Yep. Slim flicks.
Simplex. What?
Slim
Oh,
flicks.
Slim flicks. I see. There's a bunch of good ones in here.
Yeah.
Good titles.
Now Netflix now up to 20% off your bandwidth. Philips dims third-party bulbs. Philips turns the lights off. Until it gets healthier. Less flicks, compression and chill. Those are racing to the top. I can tell.
I really
Netflix
like
and
compression and
compressed
chill.
is also good. Yeah, I kind of think compression and chill.
It's time to use that one because that Netflix and chill has a limited shelf life in people's consciousness. So I'd say do it.
Done. Compression and chill.
Dr. Payne with the title.
Dr. Payne, you have been chosen to accept the challenge.
Oh, never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment.
That's our theme song. Never a dull moment, sung to the tune of Never a Dull Moment.
Mm-hmm.
In the key of Never a Dull Moment.
In the key of. There's Ellie singing the song right now.
Yep.
That's
My
great.
day's complete. Got my Ellie.
Ellie. See, she looks. She knows her name.
She knows the internet is real.
We kept calling her baby for the longest time. Baby, don't do that.
Baby.
Baby, don't do that.
Ellie, the voices are calling to you.
I could never remember a time when the internet did not speak to me.
It'll just be like part of the fabric of her, world.
Yeah. I don't know why she grows up to have a southern accent, but
But by then you'll be able to implant, snap-ins into your brain stem to give you whatever.
right. It's just a fashion
right.
choice.
Kids these days.
What's funny is, I wonder how many kids actually understand how the internet works, other than, they know how to use it. They know how to use it for what they need, but outside
No,
of that,
it's That's the natural life cycle of things. And I was always amazed by the wave of people who came after just with computers in general, who were just users and were uninterested in what was going on under the hood, which is because we were the hobbyists and only we cared about these computers. Oh, and then they started doing things that other people cared about, and you have the mass of humanity who are we just use it. And it's going to be that times 1,000, I think, with the younger generations in the internet. It's just always been there, of course. Unfortunately, that comes with an implicit trust of the internet, and this is why I spend my days scrubbing malware off of people's machines after they let their kids touch them.
I'm going to introduce you that as malware scrubber next time you're on the show.
In my other life, lots of ransomware out there. That's evil, evil stuff.
That's like isn't that the big one or the big trend now? Ransomware?
Yeah, and it's very real. I had 2 instances of Tesla Crypt at clients this week, and one client realized the benefit of good backups, and the other realized that they did not have good backups. And now they do, but it's a little too late.
So was the vector just like an email attachment or like an email link that they clicked on? Or
One vector was the email spoof where the boss of the organization got it and just forwarded it to his controller, and she saw, oh, it's from a trusted source, it's from my boss. And so opened the invoice that was attached, and it was all over at that point. The other one can't find an email vector, so I'm assuming it was an exploit kit running on a compromised website.
What's the vector, Victor?
You were under over, and over was underdone.
You know, that's why I tie all my attachments to Google Docs, like spreadsheets and stuff. Like I'll just open it up in Google Docs. Sandbox just a little.
Yeah, the level of sophistication on their command and control servers where it's all automated, makes you your own private directory, automates the acceptance of the Bitcoin and releasing the decryption key if they feel like it. If these people
hear about that boot sector virus, it's like rootkit on steroids.
I have not.
And one of the interesting things about it was that it included an uninstall feature. So you couldn't, because Windows can't see it because it's boot sector. But it put some things in the registry that would allow you to uninstall it, which made a lot of people think, well, it must be meant, at least in part, to be ransomware.
Interesting.
What does it do? Does it just lock your machine?
It owns the machine. I mean, it can do whatever it wants.
Yeah, I mean, with rootkits, you get a shadow operating system running alongside, and they play merry hell with your computer. I hear singing.
Ah, merry hell, the wish of Krampus.
Ellie. You're adorable.
He's talking to Ellie in case you're just listening to the audio.
Leave us alone.
So, let me tell you how The Force Awakens ends.
They roll the credits.
Millions of people just stopped their MP3s.
Wow, did you see the viewership just drop off there, dude? Man. And then come the death threats in the IRC.
Cried out in terror. Were suddenly silenced. I, for one, am not too worried about shutting. Like I've seen people like my friend Ron. It's like, that's it. I'm leaving the internet. See you on Thursday night. Yeah. I'm not too worried about it. I'm also not super spoiler sensitive personally. That's not an invitation. I don't love to be spoiled necessarily, but I don't live in deathly fear of it.
Well, the studio has done, I think, a remarkable job really keeping under wraps.
Yeah.
In this day and age, that ain't easy. And JJ didn't have the greatest track record with that with Into Darkness, where all of it got leaked anyway, and they had to flat out lie to try and keep a lid on it.
Well, and they allowed 150 people in to see the movie yesterday who had been in line to buy tickets.
Oh, really?
And they just surprised him and said, you can come in now.
Really?
2 people turned it down because they were getting married on Thursday and said, we can't do it. We can't do it to our guests. The whole point of our wedding is to get married and see The Force Awakens with everybody. And I'm like, wow, that's some self-control right there.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. But everybody else took them up on the opportunity and went in.
That's awesome.
And that's where, like, that's the biggest spoiler risk right there, right?
Right.
It's like those people, you know.
They have no vested interest.
But I guess they're so thankful that they were given that opportunity that they don't want to, they don't want to ruin it.
Which is good. That's not the usual activity you see on the internet. So faith in humanity, ratchet up one notch.
Sometimes.
Occasionally.
Humanity's like babies. Some of them are good.
I see one. A good one right there. She was baby singing to me earlier. It was awesome.
Yes. As Ian points out to the chat room, I haven't seen Star Wars The Force Awakens. So I couldn't spoil it if I...
Because we're not in France.
I don't think France has seen it yet either.
No,
That's tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they're a day out.
They get it on Wednesday.
And you just know we'll be getting cryptic and maybe not so cryptic tweets from Monsieur Beja.
Strike It Rich asks if Force Awakens ends with a visit from Nick Fury.
Well, it technically could.
They could have so much fun with that.
Could Force Ghost Mace Windu in.
Yeah.
Yep. Did I ever tell you about the SHIELD Jedi project?
When they do that crossover, I will burn everything. It's just like, that is almost too crass.
But didn't Patton Oswalt write that movie?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, nerds would rise up and burn down the planet at that point. Having my lightsaber. It's what
they would just stop patronizing those franchises. Like, all right, done.
Yeah.
I'd love it.
They'll patronize J.J. Abrams' other venue, Star Trek.
Oh, you mean
more Trek?
The Fast and the Phasers? Yeah.
All right, this guy says you could spoil it with a really good guess. I disagree with that.
Yeah, we've been through this before, which is guesses are just guesses.
Yeah.
Speculation.
People are like, don't try to guess. What if you get it right? Then you've spoiled it. I'm like, but how is that a spoiler if you don't know if it's true? But some people are so spoiler sensitive, they don't even want to hear speculation on what could
They're
happen.
speculating in their own brains. They can't stop themselves. If you're thinking about the movie, you are speculating about it.
Yeah.
People are dumb.
I'm dumb. I know that.
I'm not a smart man.
Why isn't SoundCloud processing my track for playback, Jenny?
Dear SoundCloud, please process Tom's track for playback.
Are you sending them a postcard?
I am writing a very angry response to the fact that your processing is not very fast.
Oh, yes, they're processing.
It worked.
Look.
See?
It's magic. It's amazing.
When you write a very angry letter, you always get a
I'd like
good
to
response.
imagine that there was some guy at SoundCloud at his desk listening to Alpha Geek Radio right then. He was like, let me check on that. Oh, yeah, that process is hung.
Dear SoundCloud, thank you very much for addressing my concerns. I really appreciate it. I will continue to use your service.
That was amazing. It worked.
Recommend it to anyone who asks.
Yes. Now leave me alone with my comic books.
I am impatiently waiting for The Expanse episode 2 as well, Strike It Rich. The Expanse premiered on Sci-Fi last night, and episode 2 comes tonight. I already seen episode 1 because they released it early. And it was good. I'm looking for more.
I wonder if I can catch that on demand in places. Where is Sci-Fi on demand? They have their own Roku channel, right?
You have cable?
I do have cable.
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, I think you can log in. I know you can log in on the web and see full episodes of stuff. So yeah, I think do they have a Roku or do they have an Apple? They might have an Apple.
Oh well, I just bought an Apple TV.
You could also buy it from iTunes and watch.
If you've got the current gen Apple TV that supports the App Store, there's a lot more.
Okay. See, I'm now going to do a head-to-head test of the Roku Stick and the Apple TV.
Ah. You could stream your music through Roku Stick too.
Mm-hmm. Apple TV would be the perfect device.
No, I can't stream. I can't stream iTunes through the Roku Stick. Can I?
Mm-hmm.
There's a way. Yeah.
How? Is it complicated?
No.
No-ish.
It's a little
Yeah.
app. It's a little
Let's
app.
put it this way.
You bought
I'm
an
having
Apple
a
TV.
party.
You don't need to worry about it now.
I'm going to a party. I'm hosting a party on Friday about Star Wars. Will I have time to set up your complicated Roku stick way before then?
No, it's not complicated. I mean, there's lots of different ways to do it. One would be to download a different player and then DLNA stream it to Roku, and not use iTunes to play it.
Yeah. See, at this point, I'm glad I bought my Apple TV, and also really,
but another
I could
way would
use
be
an HDMI cable
to use RDO's gone though. There are
Yeah.
music apps that then you could upload your music into and use those.
Yeah. All I
Now you
want
got me
is
wondering,
the cantina.
what's the best
Yeah.
Most of the modern Roku devices will show up as a Bluetooth speaker destination.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, snap.
So you just go into the settings on the Roku and put it into discoverable mode, pair it, and then you just make that your
you could do it with the
audio.
Roku app.
Yep, that too.
Put the music on your iPhone and then use the Roku app and send it.
Just send it. You know, I think I think those are all awesome. I think that both the phone and the computer will be in heavy usage during the party, so it feels good to have a separate standalone device to do it.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
But I like all those solutions because they're cheaper. And like the HDMI cable one was real. That's how I streamed StarWars.com last night, was just put an HDMI cable into the laptop and do it, you know, early O's style, or not early O's, but mid O's. Because sometimes that just works.
Yep.
I watched the stream in the kitchen while making salad.
You have a
I want, you know what I want? I want a vine of Anthony Carboni's face the moment Carrie Fisher took the mic, because the angle of his hands making a prayer triangle over his mouth. I just want it over and over and over.
It was the, what have I done?
Yeah,
what
like,
have I wrought?
I'm either a genius or fired.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah.
No, we need to get somebody to make that repeating GIF and then dub over the top of it. Ooh!
such a human moment.
It was totally the I just threw firecrackers into the principal's office.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that the greatest idea
that-
ever, or am I in
Or am
horrible
I
trouble?
in a lot of trouble? I also really applauded his commitment to enthusiasm in the face of Harrison Ford's grumpy act.
Oh, I missed the Harrison
saw
Ford
that?
interview.
Harrison Ford was like decently good natured, and Carboni, of course, had really good questions, but at a certain point, like, it was really weird because, like, at a certain point, it ended weirdly, like, because Harrison Ford was just, like, done, and I think Carboni asked one more question and got a look from somebody and just, like, shut it down. You know, like, he shut down his own question, and I was just like, oh, this is so awkward, but he did a really good job of it.
That's so typical of Harrison
It's so
Ford's
Ford. Like,
interviews, that
either
stuff.
Harrison Ford is, like, 110% on, or he's just a grump. Or he's playing a grump, but he's playing it so well that you can't tell. Like, I would never,
Grump or drunk?
yeah, I would
Let's play.
never, ever, ever in a million years want to interview Harrison Ford, because I couldn't handle it.
Just you just have to try to out-grump him.
Yeah.
I would know in my heart of hearts that I would have nothing new to ask him.
Right.
Not
These are
been
my
that.
issues with interviews like that. Like, that's why I'd rather just talk to people nobody knows. Because, oh boy, what are you gonna ask Harrison Ford?
How about that air?
Yeah.
What'd you have
you-
for lunch?
Enjoy premieres that are large,
You know,
or
crashing
would you
in-
rather be flying an airplane?
Yeah, which aircraft do you think you're going to crash next? Great.
And over whose house?
Actually, he was ice cold
Yeah.
and calm and collected during that event. So, like, damn.
Yeah. Shane says, start an interview with Harrison Ford by holding out a snake. I like that. This is just my pet snake, Reggie. He'll be asking the questions.
Just get the I am not Indiana Jones. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not actually afraid of snakes.
I'll eat it.
Nom, 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 nom,
All right, we
nom.
gotta go do a secret
Yeah.
episode that will be in your
Secret
feeds on December 28th.
Episode.
Shush.
So there.
episode. I'll take the 5 minutes it takes to log into Skype. Hey.
It
Your
ends
kids have fun now.
with Lando buying Mandalorian armor. Goodbye.